Woo! Like Ric Flair. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mitchell Roulane, the host of the Wrestling Diaries, the podcast show, The Average Joe, where we talk to people in the local community about their struggles and their ideas and their aspirations and what makes them tick. And we also, also talk to people internationally. If you've watched the show, then you've seen our Zoom calls on the big monitor in the chair. And so that's what we do here. In case you're wondering if this is your first time to listen to this or watch it, that's what goes on. We just talk to people from everyday society about the things they struggle with, because everyday people are what make up the bulk of society, right? Like everybody's always hearing what celebrities and politicians and stuff are doing, but what is like the every man and woman doing? You know what I mean? Anyways, check us out. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast. I think it's Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Google Podcast. We're all on basically every platform that hosts podcast. We are on. Follow us, download, check us out, spread our message. What do people struggle with in life, and how can they beat it? And also, if you want to watch the video, and if you're watching it now, then subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Wrestling Diaries on YouTube. Like, comment, share. And we're going to get rolling today. I've got a person from the local Birmingham area that I actually used to go to church with named Cleo Chambless.
Yes.
What's up, Cleo?
Nothing. I'm just hanging out on this beautiful Saturday evening, and I'm blessed and honored that you invite me to speak and share my heart with everybody. So what's up, Birmingham?
Yeah, we're grateful for you to be here, too.
Yeah.
So tell people how do you know me?
Well, many years ago, we all grew up together and went to church at Garywood Assembly of God out in Hueytown.
Right.
Under the leadership of Pastor John Lowe. The pastor was Patrick Conrad, and it was a great church. The Spirit of God was definitely there. People were being saved, all ages, large church with many different diversity of families. And there was Mitchell in the youth ministry, a teenager, and just, going to church, and we just
I was a rebel.
hung out, and those were good times, really good times.
Yeah, there was good times, great oldies. Growing up in that church was something else. It's funny. Me and all my friends in our long hair and holy jeans and band shirts.
Yeah,
people are like, oh, look at this crew of miscreants here. Matt, my sound guy, was also in that lineup, whom you don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, he looks familiar.
Yeah, he does look familiar.
The more I look at him, I think I
so
do
sad,
remember.
so sad.
Yeah, you're breaking Matt's heart over here. He
just didn't remember me.
Well, in defense of Matt, he kind of like, me and Thomas and Jason were kind of more flashy and loud and talking to everybody, and Matt kind of hung back and a little bit more quiet. Ivy kind of too, I guess. Or he was kind of loud and flashy a little bit.
But see the slim guy with curly hair?
Yeah, super tall, super duper skinny. He looks like one of those walking trees from Lord of the Rings.
I think I remember him. I think I see.
That'll teach you, Ivy. I hope you hear this. Dare you make fun of me when you call me? Anyway, so what's been going on with your life, man? What's been up after? I guess everybody kind of, not everybody, but a big bulk of the people that we grew up with, kind of like went to separate, just kind of went away. You still kept going to Garywood, right?
Yeah, I kept going to Garywood. Actually, I'm still there now, just not as much because of the COVID-19 issues that's plaguing the church. And we actually had one guy that died from COVID-19 that goes to Garywood.
Oh, was he older?
Yeah, he was probably like in his early 60s.
Okay. Did he have any other underlining like health condition issues though?
I'm not really sure,
because I feel like that's a big thing that's happening. Like older people, and they already have a health condition, and then COVID just kind of like takes that and just kind of stretches it out, and they get real sick or they unfortunately pass away.
Well, I'm not really sure because I kind of like lost in touch with him, but I just you find out everything on Facebook. So
do you?
You do.
Is that that's where I get all my news, ladies and gentlemen. All of it from Facebook.
So I just heard on Facebook that he, everybody was asking for prayer for him. He was on the video later. For about 2 weeks, they were asking for constant prayer for him. And then sadly, I was at work and I was on Facebook looking at on Saturday last week, and I found out that he passed away early that morning. And they did like a memorial service for him this last Thursday.
Yeah, so, it's been pretty crazy. Like 2020 has been a year that I just want it to be over with already.
I do.
So much crap has happened, and it's just 2020. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So maybe 2021 will be much better.
I hope so. I hope this is not the new norm for us, like wearing masks and social distancing and spraying Lysol like every 30 seconds.
Is that what you do? Do you have like a can on you?
Well, I have this thing called Seventh Generations. I bought from CVS because they didn't have any Lysol. I said,
Seventh Generation.
I need something.
So it's like a disinfectant?
Yeah, it is. And it smells like citrus.
You don't spray it in your mouth, do you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Just around me.
Gotcha.
You know, and constantly washing your hands. 'Cause I'm OCD and work at a hospital.
Are you clinically OCD? Like, are you just
not
saying?
Clinically, but I have the personality of being OCD.
Okay, so do I. I've never gotten tested, so it's not clinical. But speaking of masks, I like yours. It reminds me of a picnic blanket. It makes me want to go on a picnic right now.
Yeah.
Except it's not. Was it red? Is it normally like what, red and blue and I don't know the sequence of it. Right, yeah.
White, red.
It's cool. So what are you doing now? What's your profession? Where are you working?
Well,
what's going on with that? What's your career stuff look like?
Right now, I just graduated nursing school back in May of this year as an RN, and I passed the NCLEX. And so right now I'm working on the med-surg floor at UAB, or the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hospital.
Yeah.
And
what's med-surg? What's that?
Med-surg, it's basically just general medicine. It's not a specialized for like, if you have like lung issues, which is like pulmonary, or kidney issues, which is like nephrology, or if you have like abdominal issues, like which is like gastrointestinal, it's just mainly just for sick people that are like it's general, not specialized. So it's and it's mainly just for like infectious diseases. Thank God that's not any COVID patients there, not yet, but it's just general med-surg, like general medicine.
How does it? So how working in a hospital, and you said you work at UAB, correct?
Yes, that's right.
So how does that look on the employees, like with the whole COVID thing? Like what's the precautions that the hospital's taking and the employees and stuff? How does all that look?
Well, they definitely use social distancing. Their employees, they try to follow all these precautions. You know, like wearing the mask. Everybody's required to wear a mask. Visitor, employee, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hospitals are already before COVID. I mean, they're already supposed to be very sanitized and clean and stuff anyway. So I imagine it's not too much more.
Well, actually, there kind of is because they really like stepped it up because they felt like they had to.
Because the cases are increasing.
Yeah, and cases are increasing. So they, like in the cafeteria at UAB, they have all the seats and the chairs like spaced out 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And there's no more salad bar. There used to be an open salad bar, but all that's done away with now. And it has like hand sanitizer every so many feet at stations, so you like use that.
Yeah.
But they have this thing called PPE, like personal
protective equipment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a face shield with that too.
Yeah, I was down in downtown this morning at the Pepper Place Market. You ever been there? The farmers market.
Heard about it.
It's super fun. You should totally check it out. Anybody else that lives in the Birmingham, Alabama area? Pepper Place Market. It's I think they do it every Saturday and Sunday, or maybe it's like twice a month or once a month. I don't know. I always get my information from somebody else, but it's really cool. It's like an open market, so vendors come down there, people selling jewelry they've made, or people that has a farm and they're selling their vegetables or their meats or just different like little things like that. But I saw somebody down there today with a face. They didn't have a mask on, but they had a plastic face shield. They looked like they're in a SWAT team.
Without a mask?
Yeah, but it was this big, she was wearing this helmet and it had the plastic face mask that came down to her chin. It looks like what the, I guess SWAT team people wear it when they're like coming in, or it's riot gear, something like that. I don't know, but that's, so it was pretty funny to see that actually. But I guess she didn't want to cover her face up. So
she just like a regular customer?
I think she was just like just a person just at the market, but she had that face shield on, and I was like, I also saw somebody, Matt, you're going to think this is funny. You know those old Victorian masks back from the bubonic plague that look like a bird's nose? There was a vendor.
Oh, the plague doctor.
Yes,
masks.
the plague doctor masks. Wow. There was a guy with a plague doctor's mask, and he was a vendor, and he just had it on. He had his baseball cap on, jeans, and a T-shirt, and then he had that mask on. Wow. And had the goggles. And
that's pretty badass, though.
Yeah, no, I don't know where he got it.
I want one for myself. I just want to hang it on my wall because I think they're like super freaking cool.
Yeah, they look pretty freaky too. Like it's, I don't know how he was not. I wanted to walk up to him like, dude, is there like a puddle of sweat in there right now? Because it was hot as crap out there today. But yeah, just different people with the funny masks and stuff like that. I haven't seen any sarcastic ones yet where people are just wearing like an actual mask, like a ski mask.
Well, I saw one mask. I saw one mask on Facebook. It's the guy had like an actual mask of his face.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. So I guess he had somebody like draw it or paint it on there.
That's cool. Or maybe they do like take a photo of it and then like print it or something. Photo print. I don't know.
It's very creative.
Yeah, it's super creative. So how long have you worked at UAB now?
Well, I've been at UAB for about a year. When I first started there, it was June of last year. I was a PCT.
Okay.
And then I transferred from which is basically like a nurse tech, to being a nurse in June of this year or July of this year.
Okay. You like working at UAB?
I do. It's very challenging. There's a lot to learn, a lot to remember. I like challenges. So I do like working there. It's fulfilling.
Yeah. You get along with all your employees and your bosses and stuff like that. What is a nurse's boss? Who's the boss? Is it the doctor or is it like a head nurse or how does that work? I don't know about that.
But honestly, the immediate nurse's boss is the unit manager, who's also a nurse at UAB, but they have their masters, so they're kind of like in control of the whole unit. Okay. And then under the unit manager, there's a person called a charge nurse who is in a way like a boss, but they just kind of like the person. If the unit manager's not there, it's the go-to person. Like if you can't draw blood or something immediate happens, that's the person you go to. And then there's just the nurses. And the doctors are kind of like in charge, but also adjacent because they tell you to write orders. They're not really your boss necessarily. They're just a person that in the hierarchy of, I guess, of medicine, you would answer to.
Right, sure. Yeah. That makes sense. That's kind of cool, kind of interesting. I used to work for a small medical practice for a doctor that's running his own medical practice. Yes. And so I've just always wondered what it would be like to work in a big like hospital and how that would differentiate from like a small private practice. That's very interesting. What do you think? You think you'll stick with UAB? You going to go somewhere else, or what's that look like?
I think honestly, for the next 10 years, I think I'm gonna stick with UAB for two reasons. Because you see everything at UAB as far as like what kind of patients that come in and you learn things, but also like furthering your career, they give you free tuition. So like,
right, I forgot about that.
So the free tuition is definitely an incentive because of that. And don't they?
And they offer like you don't even have to work in like medical stuff, right? You can do something else like clerical work, and then they still offer
like whatever position you work at UAB.
So you could be like a janitor and still get tuition to go to school. That's a heck of a program. Anybody listening to this, if you're wondering about it and you want to get into UAB, try to get a job there. Yeah, get some free tuition going. So what do you have a bachelor's?
Well, I'm working towards my bachelor's.
Okay.
Right now, I have my associates.
I got you. Yeah. What does getting a bachelor's go? What is that? What will that entail for your job?
Well, basically at UAB, because it's like a magnet hospital, it's kind of like a level above other hospitals. So like a bachelor's degree for UAB really means it's a standard degree for a nurse. I think the higher level for a nurse at UAB would be getting the master's. Okay. Like Grandview or Princeton or Brookwood, having a bachelor's will qualify a nurse to be able to be like a unit manager. Yeah. So, but they're not a magnet hospital like UAB is.
Yeah, I almost got into Actually, I started to go into nursing. I started school for nursing.
Really?
Yeah, going to Jeff State, but I did not. It's funny. I changed my mind at the last moment. After I'd already like got all the paperwork done, I was getting into the school and all this stuff, and I don't know. Like I wanted to do it for a couple of reasons. Because I like helping people and being, serving the public and all that. Yeah. But then to be honest with you, my original thing was there was a buddy of mine who really is the one that like kind of sold me on the idea. He was somebody I was working with at the time, and he was getting into nursing, and he was just praising it and preaching it up about how much money you would make and the amount of free time you would get. And he kept like elaborating on those points. And, I'm a young guy at the time. I was like probably 18, 19. And, I had just finished high school and I was taking a year off because I was like, 13 years of school is too much. I want to take at least 1 year off, work, save some money, and then kind of figure out what I kind of want to get into. And so then he started selling me on nursing. But the selling point on nursing was, like I said, it was for me, it was just about the money and the status, and then the amount of freedom that you get on the schedule anyway. And then he was telling me about traveling nurses and how they make so much more. And there was a bigger demand for men in the nurse field during that time. I don't know if that's still a thing now, but back then there was a huge demand they wanted more men in the nursing profession. So
they still do.
Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, all that was appealing to me, but I just feel like I started going into it for the wrong reasons. Like for me, it was just all about money and status. And I knew, like, ahead of time, I visualized it.
Right.
And I was like, I mean, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to commit to this. But is this a job that I'm going to be like smiling ear to ear about and like skipping and cartwheeling in the door? I don't know. And I started thinking about it. And then I felt like eventually it was just going to be another clock in, clock out type job. And I'd be like, oh, I got to work today. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got to go in tomorrow. Ooh, I get a 3-day weekend. And I just didn't, I was like, all right, if you're going to go to school, it needs to be something you're passionate about and something that is just you. And this was just, I didn't grow up wanting to be a nurse. It's just, he talked me up. I didn't know what I wanted to do as far as higher education. And then he talked it up, and all I saw was dollar signs. And so I'm so glad that I ended up not doing it. I mean, someone could say, I think somebody told me, yeah, but then you'd at least have the degree. And I was like, yeah, I'd have the degree, but I wouldn't want to do it. So it would be pointless. It'd be a pointless degree, for nursing. So, and plus I kind of got more involved in like alternative medicine stuff. So I ended up working at the small doctor's practice I was at was an alternative healthcare practice.
Right.
So they use like food and nootropic stuff and chiropractic care and acupuncture. And then he's ended up doing like lab testing and stuff and kind of more some traditional medicine stuff, but that was kind of more my forte, I guess because I'm a hippie. I'm not really a hippie, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm not knocking on anybody else that wants to be a nurse. I'm just, for me personally, I just realized it would have been a job that I'm just punching in, punching out every day, and it wouldn't have meant any more to me than something else.
I would say that I think your friend was a little bit misinformed because you definitely do work a lot of hours as a nurse, especially because of COVID. And you put your life on the risk because you know what you're walking into with some of these patients.
That's true.
And you have to have a desire to care about people. You have to feel called. Like this, I think it's a calling.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. It wasn't a calling to me unless money calls.
And being a nurse is not always convenient or comfortable.
I can imagine. So what does your schedule look like? Like, what are your workday weeks look like generally?
Well, we have this thing called Smart Square, which is like an app on your phone, or it's a website on the computer where you can just go in and set your own schedule.
Really? That's cool. That's pretty cool.
There's openings, depending on what group you're in, for like a certain amount of time, for like certain months. And you have to go in when your group comes open, and you have to agree to work 2 Mondays in the month and 2 Fridays.
Why is Mondays and Fridays important?
Because those tend to be a lot of times the least coverage that nursing have, because nobody wants to work on a Monday, nobody wants to work on a Friday, nobody wants to work on the weekend. Everybody pretty much wants the middle of the week.
Right. Okay.
And so they were just saying, if you're going to set your own schedule, we need you to commit to working Mondays and Fridays, at least 2 out of each month.
Right, which is fair. And then everybody kind of rotates it in and out. Right. So you, how many hours you work a day? Like, what's that?
Well, the set hours is normally 12, but depending on the day and what's happening, sometimes 14 or 15, even 16 hours, because you just really responsible for that patient.
Yeah.
Because the nurse is the patient's advocate.
Right.
So just depending on the situation, you're there to help out, until you're relieved of somebody to take over once your shift is over. But you can't just abandon the patient if the nurse from the following shift doesn't show up. Okay,
cool. Do you get, is it salary or is it hourly wage?
Well, for me, it's hourly.
Okay.
I think
that's good. So you get, does it overtime still apply? Like you go over 40 and then you get paid?
Well, they try to watch overtime right now because of all the things with COVID. So you can get overtime if they really need you to work extra. But otherwise, they want you just to try to work your 3 shifts for the week. 3-day, 12-hour shifts.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's very, very interesting. I'm asking you all this. I'm really curious just because, like I said, I almost got into this field. So there's a lot of stones unturned, and a lot of stuff I just didn't know about. And also anybody listening to this or watching it, I mean, that wonder about nursing, maybe they're thinking about getting into the field of work or school on it, then you're giving them some pretty good headway here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, because nursing, like I say, is a calling, but you do get to help people. And sometimes, even as a Christian, it can be very fulfilling, because I've seen patients that are close to dying and their family members are there and asking you to pray with them. So if you believe in Christ and you have a faith in God, you get to share your faith with them and try to be a person of comfort for them in their trying times of facing death or severe illness or whatever that's happening.
Well, what do you do if you don't believe in Christ?
Well, if you don't believe in Christ, you just be respectful, and just still.
Matt's laughing over there.
You be respectful.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I know. Yeah. I got you. That's cool. So you like working downtown? Did you ever go to any of the really cool spots downtown, restaurants or stores and stuff that are not stores, but like little businesses and stuff?
Well, I'll tell you what. My new favorite spot right now is Heroes.
What's that?
It's like a shop that sells donuts and these fantastic cheeseburgers.
Where is it in Birmingham?
It is close to like 2nd Avenue South and by the Publix.
Okay. The Publix that has a building on top of it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got like a loft on top of it. Yeah,
there's the Heroes restaurant is right around the corner from there.
So they sell donuts and cheeseburgers.
Yeah, and fries, but donuts is what they also sell, which I love sweets. So
yeah. That's why you're so sweet, right? Because you eat so many sweets. Sweet guy.
Yeah, well.
Matt, we got to go there and get a cheeseburger, bro.
Y'all got to.
Yeah, me and Matt, we were talking about this on one of the last episodes.
I love cheeseburgers.
He does. This is like his favorite food. So we used to have this thing where we did this, and I talked about this on one of the previous ones, but we did these cheeseburger runs once a week. It was usually on Saturdays, right? Yeah, and we traveled all around Alabama, going to the different places that had famous cheeseburgers.
Wow.
Like we've eaten everywhere from like J&J's, the gas station, to Chez Fonfons in Birmingham.
Wait, is that in McCalla?
Yes.
JJ?
It's like a gas station, and there's a grill in there.
Ooh, they have the best.
They really do. I mean, they're in the newspaper, yeah. But so, yeah, we used to travel around doing all that. So this one that you're talking about, we haven't got to take a gander at that one. Speaking of, Matt, I had Jack Brown's this morning because we were at Pepper Place, and then we went to go Jack Brown's, and I had a beer and a burger and some fries. It's pretty good. They put macaroni and cheese on a burger there. Yeah, they do. For anybody that doesn't know that, if macaroni and cheese sounds delicious to you on a cheeseburger, then go to Jack Brown's downtown. No, did they not pay me to do this advertisement? But they should. So if anybody from Jack Brown's is listening to this, holla at you. I'll sponsor you. Throw me a couple bucks or throw me some burgers. Throw me and my boys some burgers, and we'll promote you every episode. But yeah. Anywhere else you like going? Well, besides Heroes? Okay. I gotta remember that. Heroes. Okay.
Well, I think
you ever go to Railroad Park?
I know exactly where it's at, but
that place is fun, man.
Yeah, it is fun. But I haven't been there often, but I need to go.
Yeah, you need to check it out. It's super cool. It's a nice little pond. They got an exercise area. You can walk your dog if you got one, or skateboard. And I think they have like concessions too, like an ice cream little truck that sits out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, downtown's awesome. It has this resurgence for the last decade now, with like businesses opening up, and then they're building like new apartment areas and stuff down there. So yeah,
I've always had a dream like moving downtown, but right now I just can't afford it.
But you are moving though, correct?
Yeah,
I'm not downtown.
Yeah, to Pelham with a roommate. It's two roommates actually from the church I mostly been going to now, called Chambless Church, and they're just two guys and that love God and wants, and they had, one guy owns the house, but he has two rooms available, and so one guy is renting a room from him. I'm gonna rent the other room from him.
That sounds cool. Is one of the guys the guy that's coming on the show later?
Yeah, he'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Bunch of roomies just hanging out, living it up in Pelham.
Yeah. So I won't hardly see them much because they both work days. I'm working nights. So it's like...
Oh, you work overnights doing the nursing thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Night shift.
So you're a night owl then. What's your sleeping schedule look like, if I can ask that?
Well, this is what I do. On the day that I have to work, I try to get up and get breakfast, and I go to sleep around 9. And I try to sleep from 9 until at least like 3:30. Then I'll get up and try to eat something, shower, and then do I have to do what I have to do and make my way towards UAB? Because I have to be at work by 6:30 p.m. And then on my last day that I work, did I go to work? I would get off the next morning and just work, just go to bed for a little bit. I'll eat breakfast and go to bed for just like 2 or 3 hours. And then I'll get up and I would try to stay up until my regular schedule of going to sleep, at night to try to, keep my body on track.
I gotcha. Do you prefer that, like working overnight, or would you, if you had a choice, would you work in the?
If I had a choice, I would probably do days because it's more convenient.
Yeah.
But right now, I would prefer nights because it's quieter, and plus, there's an pay incentive, to work nights because nobody wants to work nights.
Plus, I feel, and this is a stereotype, that a lot of people that work overnight kind of fit a certain criteria in their personality traits. And most of everybody I've ever met that works overnight, like consistently, or they like doing it, they're kind of darker, reserved, more either shut-ins or introverted or just kind of mysterious. And you are just a social butterfly. So that's why, you got to work during the sun hours. The world needs Cleo running around, talking to everybody and making everybody laugh and hanging out and stuff.
I guess they do.
So what else is going on in your life? What else is new?
Well, right now,
or not new, but
right
or
now,
if there is anything new.
Actually, I just feel accomplished because when I graduated high school, I wanted to be a minister.
You just recently graduated high school?
Oh no, not about 21 years ago in '99.
Holy crap! Really?
Mm-hmm.
You aged like fine wine, my friend.
Yeah. Well, thanks. How were you in '99?
Let's see, 7.
You were 7 years old in '99?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Oh. Well, I do feel old.
So, anyways, what were you saying? What else is going on with you? Like you feel accomplished. You said you graduated high school some years ago, and then what? Yeah.
Well, I had an idea to go into the ministry to be a pastor, or some a God pastor, but life
like a head pastor over a church. You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because John Loper was like my hero. He still is my
hero.
See,
you should have taken over Gary Wood.
No,
I'd still go there if Cleo was the head pastor.
Probably just you and me and the cleaning people.
It didn't matter. I'll record it. We'll stream it.
Yeah.
But okay, so why didn't you end up doing that? What made you deviate into nursing instead of going in the ministry?
Well, seriously, I felt it in my heart that I was to be a minister, but in my head, I always doubted that I was to go into the ministry.
What is it that they say though? You're supposed to follow your heart in life, right?
Oh yeah. And so I did the opposite. I followed my head and not my heart. I think that got me in trouble.
Tisk,
maybe I was like Jonah. I don't know. But I always had desire for medicine too. And I was going to go to school to be a pharmacist, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, so I just gravitated to nursing.
Okay. I see. I mean, do you think you have plans in the future to probably try to grab those brass rings, that goal to try to get into ministry or any other form of medicine or pharmacy, like you were saying?
As far as ministry, I'm realizing and learning that even as a nurse and just as a layperson in the church, which is basically just a church member, if you're a Christian, you're a minister. And God wants you to spread His gospel, the good news of His Son, Jesus, to everybody you meet.
Yeah.
But as far as being like an official, formalized pastor, if God wants me to do it, He really has to let me know, give me some kind of sign that I know it's Him.
Right.
And I'll do it.
Do you think you can still be like a minister without being a Christian?
Be a minister without being a Christian?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like,
well, like what is, like, I guess what is ministry exactly? Like you're administering to somebody, right?
Well,
like
basically,
some form of
for me, when we say ministry, we call it the service of a Christian. Like if you are a waiter at a restaurant, your service is to serve your customers. That's you're ministering to them. You're serving them.
Right.
So as a Christian, I believe ministry is serving people, loving them like Jesus, living for God on a daily basis, and just being Christ's hands and feet in the earth, and being a reflection of who He is. And that's for every Christian. So if you are a Christian, then I believe you are a minister.
Right. I guess what my question was like, do you feel that other religions could still be ministers to people without the Christian faith? I guess was what my question is.
Yes, but I don't think it'll be effective. And I don't think it will have eternal rewards as a Christian does.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Well,
Sorry, I'm asking. I'm just curious. We're
we'll
just
put me on
talking.
the spot here. Well,
No, I don't mean to put you on the spot. You don't have to answer if you don't want
Yeah,
to. Just,
well,
I'm
I'll
curious. I'm
answer-
sure other people are curious.
Well, I'll answer because as a Christian, we believe that Jesus is the only way to God and the only way to go to heaven. So without him, people are eternally lost. He came down from heaven to make the way for us to come back to God, our Father, who's our creator. And since he's the way to God, because he came down from heaven, he can bring us back to God. And so any other religion that doesn't have Christ is, in my opinion, is meaningless and it's not effective.
Okay.
They can do good.
That's fair.
They can
That's
do
fair.
good deeds and good works, but it won't really be of any value.
Strong man in the faith, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen. You should go into ministry. I mean, you've got a good outlook on your religion. You've got a good, I don't know, a good direction about the way you feel about it and what you want to do with your life, and that's good.
Well, thank you.
You know, that's good. So who knows? Maybe there's some pulpit that's open for you somewhere in the future.
No, well, if it is, I'll take the call. You just have to let me know.
Right.
You will.
Cool. What if he's letting you know right now? What if me telling you this is him letting you know?
I'm gonna need some more signs just to make sure it's really him.
Okay, I gotcha. That's pretty cool. So what else? What are some of your other aspirations? Anything else you ever wanted to do in life?
Well, I definitely want to get married and have a family. I feel like for me,
How many kids do you want? Have you already thought about that?
Yeah, I've thought about it. It's probably weird a guy thinking about how many kids he wants, but
Hey, it happens.
I'm not getting any younger.
I thought about how many I wanted.
Really?
0.
You say that now, but when you get married, things will change.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Matt's laughing over there. Anyways, go ahead.
I've only-
You're talking about your family. You'd like a family. What does that look like?
well, I have to be married with a beautiful woman that loves God and knows how to sing.
Oh, why is that important?
Because I can
do
sing.
you want her to serenade you?
Yeah, we can serenade each other.
Mm.
And I just like a woman that can sing. It's always been just something that's really been important to me. That she can know how to sing and know how to cook too.
How dare you stereotype ladies? They don't all have to cook
Yeah.
and clean.
Well,
Yeah.
I help her clean, I help her cook, but at least know how to do something.
I made a joke once. No, you know what? I'm not gonna make the joke. It's fine. I won't make it. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Have you ever done any traveling outside of the country? I know that's a random question, but
No, but I would like to.
where'd you like to go?
Well, I like to go to Hawaii, probably Greece,
Nice.
Israel. I've always wanted to go because it's the Holy Land where Christ lived,
Yeah.
and where He's going to come back to when He comes back to
You
earth.
got to be careful. Israel is a tough place.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of craziness goes on there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you gotta. Anyways, yeah, those are really awesome. I'd love to go to all those places as well. That'd be super, super cool. A buddy of mine does Krav Maga. He's planning a trip because Krav Maga is Israeli martial arts. It's,
Oh, really?
It's Hebrew. Yeah, it's a Hebrew martial art.
Cool.
Yeah. But he's a trainer. He's a Krav Maga instructor, and he wants to go over there. And with his certifications in the martial arts, he can actually go into like the military base or something like that.
Uh-huh.
He was telling me with his certification. And I was like, that's super
Yeah.
cool. Go
It
in there and
is.
train and all that other stuff. And he's like he's into everything Jewish and Hebrew without being an actual, I guess, Judah, what they call him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is he a Christian or just?
Yeah, I think he goes to a synagogue, but here's what it is. It's weird, and I'm gonna have him on the show at some point. Maybe he can explain this a
Okay.
little bit more eloquently than I can. But I think it's they're like Judeo-Christian Jews,
Yeah,
Jewish. So they go by a lot of Jewish customs and stuff like that, and they go to a synagogue, and but then they subscribe to the New Testament, and they
Right.
actually do believe in Jesus. Technically, the Jews, they don't. I mean, they believe in Jesus, but they don't believe that he was the Messiah
Right.
or anybody. They don't even believe he was a prophet. He was just a man, and he got killed for no reason or something. I don't know exactly
Right.
the full scale. Like somebody, I'm actually going to have, I think, a lady. What is it, next week? Who could explain this better than me? Also, but yeah, he goes to some synagogue. Him and his family go to a synagogue.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very interesting. Interesting stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's friends with a rabbi too.
Mm-hmm.
He's friends with everybody. He's also a private investigator. Anybody looking, try to they're looking and they need a PI, let me know. Send me a message, or if you have my number, call me. And I'll set you up with my buddy Matt, and he'll do some investigations for you. Yeah. Actually, I got to get him hooked up with. Remember, Margaret was on the podcast, Matt. She was looking for her parents. He does that. He
wow.
He tries to find people's birth parents and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff, right?
Yeah, I think is what they call like Messianic Jews.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. I couldn't think of the word earlier when we were talking about this. Messianic Jews. Correct.
I got plenty of friends that are like that. They're Messianic Jews. They're Jewish, but they also have faith in Christ too.
Yeah, it's interesting. Their customs and stuff are real cool, old school.
Yeah,
it's very, 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 very interesting stuff. But what you said? So you still go to Garywood, the church that we met at all those years ago. But what about what's this other place that you were talking about? Canvas? Is that what you said? Where's that at?
This actually in Homewood. They are now having church in the old Brown Mackey building.
Brown Mackey.
It was a college.
That's okay. I thought it sounded familiar. All
and they have. It's kind of weird because where Brown Mackey College is, there's a statue of Vulcan there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, and it's every time I drive on that on that campus,
I love it.
That Vulcan statue just gets to me. I have to look at it for like a second.
It's a Christian church, Matt, with a pagan god in it. How perfect is that? At least it's not Baphomet. Yeah. Can you imagine that? That'll turn some heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great church.
How long have you been going there?
I've been going to Canvas off and on for like 3 or 4 years. Just visiting, and the more I go, the more I like the people, the pastor. I like the services. I like the interaction. They're good-hearted people that love God, passionate about Jesus, and passionate about serving Birmingham and winning the lost for Christ and being God's hands and feet in the city of Birmingham. And they're very missionary-oriented too, like Garywood is.
Is Garywood still doing missionary stuff?
They do.
Okay.
Jeff Leatherman is the pastor there now. And he's very much a mission-minded pastor. Yeah. He loves mission.
A lot of people left Garywood.
Yeah.
Is the population still pretty low there?
At the church?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not where it used to be. I think there's several reasons why people left Garywood.
Why? What are they? Let's hear 'em.
I think one of the reasons why is because Hueytown changed a lot. A lot more people were finding jobs and decided to move their families over to Shelby County.
Okay.
And so that caused people to leave Garywood. When Pastor Loper retired, a lot of people felt that Garywood had changed and they started going to different churches. Yeah. So that also had an influence on the membership too. Yeah.
I mean, I noticed a pretty huge decline when he was still pastoring there for a couple of years. Yeah. Like that's when I started seeing it. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't want to slander the church's name, but
and it's kind of sad to see.
I guess it is, especially if you grew up there, right?
Yeah.
Not only it being a house of worship, but then also it's like this place where you met a lot of friends and
it's
colleagues.
Like family.
People met their significant others there. So I can imagine it being kind of kind of sad for people to get away from that.
Yeah.
But does Pastor Loper still go to the church?
No, Pastor Loper doesn't go. I think he felt like, and I did not speak for him, but I feel like he wanted to kind of like fade out from Garywood and give the new pastor a chance to, pastor the church without him being there in the background and influencing any issues at the church. Yeah. So he's currently at Christian Life Church in Hoover with Pastor Jeremy Sailors, who's also a great dynamic pastor. And I watch a lot on Facebook and from a distance. And that's an emerging church. They're exploding and doing great things too.
Yeah, I have I have a couple funny stories about Pastor Loper. None of them are good though. Matt knows what I'm talking about. But I remember we used to help out Pastor Paul a lot, and they did remember those wide opens they used to do?
Oh, I remember those.
And so we Pastor Paul was like buddies with us. He liked us and all that. And I remember us going to help him out, and so we're all these like punk teenagers with our skateboards and our holy jeans. And I remember we were just walking with Paul, and Loper was there, and he was like, "Paul, what's the meaning of this? What is this motley crew you've got with you here?
That's what he said.
Yeah. And then Paul was like, oh, no, these are guys from youth. And he goes, oh, okay. Right? He called us the motley crew. But I mean, okay, all right, in all fairness, yeah, we were pretty motley. We were pretty
Well, actually, I'm kind of confused. What does motley mean?
Motley is like it's like disruptive, rebellious, outliers, punks. That's kind of like a general breakdown of the word. Yeah. So he's like, "Whoa, what are you doing with this?"
So would it kind of be like Robin Hood, like in his time, would Robin Hood be called like a motley crew? Robin Hood and his gang.
Yeah, it was.
Really?
Yeah. Our crew was like Robin Hood. We're stealing all the time.
Not. I mean, like they were different. Like they were not. Normal society people.
I guess. I guess because he didn't know us, which is weird because we all grew up in the church, especially me and Thomas, especially like Thomas and Jason. They were their family, their parents and stuff went there, and I guess he just didn't recognize us or whatever. But we just look like, I guess, a band of miscreants, and I guess maybe he thought because sometimes we get in trouble for skateboarding on the church premises because we'd be grinding like the steps and messing them up and all this stuff, and we get yelled at and all that.
Oh,
so
really?
I didn't know if like maybe he was seeing us and he was like, "Oh, look at all these punk kids," and then Pastor Paul, the youth pastor, is walking with them. Maybe he caught them doing stuff, and now he's gathered them all together and he's taking them inside to call their parents or the police or something. So I sit back and think about that too. So it's not that's fair enough, right? I guess. You don't know what's going on. But then my other story, Pastor Loper, was, and this one's real funny. Hopefully our friend Jason listens to this, so he can be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. So I remember going to service one Sunday evening, and this is so hilarious. We're there, and like praise and worship is just getting ready to wrap up. And then I was like, it's funny. I was like, wait a second. Did I put any deodorant on? And then I go, no, nope. And I was like, dang, okay, but I got a stick of deodorant in my truck. So I'm going to go out to my vehicle and I'm going to go get it and put some on and come back in. So it'll be all nice and fresh. And, all the cute girls I talk to won't think I smell like an onion. Yeah. So anyways, I walk out to my vehicle and then our friend Jason sees me get up and follows me. And then I don't know if Ivy was with us too. And then he got up and followed Jason. Then we go out there, and then you remember Ben Callahan, right?
Oh, I know Ben.
So he wasn't even at the service, but I walked out there. I turned around, and like Jason's walking behind me, and I think Ivy. It might have not been Ivy. It might have been another person. I'm not 100%. I have to ask Jason this, but it definitely was Jason. And he comes out, and then he's followed by somebody. I'm like, what are y'all doing? He's like, I was trying to see what you were doing. I was like, what? So you just followed me? I was like, dude, I'm just putting deodorant on. Like you got up, and then he got up. Everybody's like watching us, and we already look like a motley crew. And then Ben Callahan pulls up because he sees us outside. Like we look like we're hanging out in the parking lot. So he pulls up in his vehicle and is like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm Ben Callahan. Shout out Ben Callahan. If you ever watch this or somebody watches it. And he goes, hey guys, what are y'all doing? And I was like, I came out here to put on some deodorant. I don't know if I think I was kind of embarrassed. I don't even know if I told people. Well, I'm pretty sure I told Jason.
I would have been embarrassed to say, well, I went out there for deodorant.
Right. So lo and behold, we're all standing out there. I'm wondering why all these guys followed me out. And one guy saw me from the road and he drove in. We look like we're having a block party in the parking lot, the church parking lot. We're all like teenagers. And then here, lo and behold, who do you think's coming out?
Oh, no.
Pastor John Loper.
Oh, no.
He's walking out. And he goes, all right, kids, let's break it up. We don't need to be out here smoking cigarettes in the.
Is that what he said?
In the church parking lot. Yeah, he said that.
Really?
And we was like, oh no, we're not doing that. And he was like, come on, let's walk back in. And then Ben was like, oh well, I'm not even at the service. I was just stopping by to do something. I don't know what excuse he was using. He's like, okay, well, if you're not going. And then he got in his vehicle and drove off. And then me and Jason and whoever else. We started walking our way. He was like escorting us back into the church. And then I'm walking right next to him. And I was like, hey, Pastor Libby, I was like, I just let you know, we weren't out here smoking. I had to come out here and get something. And then they've like followed me out to see if I was okay or something like that. And then he was just like, oh, okay, sure. All right. He just completely dismissed me. He didn't even listen to me. He wasn't, because I was telling the truth because I came up there to get deodorant. But Yeah, he thought we were smoking cigarettes, which was pretty funny.
Wow.
And I was all like, I got my feelings hurt, and I was like, oh, I can't believe this. What a jerk. I'm not ever going to this church again.
Yeah.
And I stopped going after that day.
You really did?
No, I didn't.
No.
I still kept going. But yeah, and those are my best memories of Pastor Loper.
Well, I would say in his defense, he's very old school. He grew up in the era where, you
Horse and buggy.
not that old school.
Okay.
But he grew up in the area, I guess, where, you be in church every Wednesday, every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, and you sit there, you don't move unless you have to go to the bathroom. And you probably don't move then either.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, fair point. Yeah, older people.
Because he is old. He's like, 75 now?
Yeah.
So he is from definitely a different era and generation.
Yeah. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. But, yeah, good old times, good old G Wood.
Yeah.
You still talk to a lot of people that you went to Garywood with?
I still do.
Big bulk of them?
Yeah.
I feel like you always have the good, juicy gossip on everything going on.
Well,
you're like the informant.
Well, I still do. It's kind of, sad because everybody's separated and they're going to different churches now. But, I try to stay in touch with everybody. And, like Chris and Holly Nelson, I talk to them quite often. And just, remember Jennifer and Jessica, the twins?
Oh, yeah.
I still stay in touch with them pretty often. And
didn't one of them marry like the big guy with the mustache who's like a firefighter or something?
Yeah, Jennifer married.
What's his name?
Steve Williams.
What do they call him? Scuba Steve or something?
Scuba Steve.
Yeah.
Well, they're married and they live in Oak Grove.
They got kids?
2 kids.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
A daughter and son, Livy and Lucas. Olivia and Lucas. They call her Livy. It's a nickname.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love getting caught up. Those were some pretty cool times back in the days.
It
Good
was.
old G Wood.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
It was definitely some special times for me, because I loved everybody. I still do. And we had a great youth group. We had a great church. Like, we had a great staff of ministers.
Yeah.
And I just really just hold all those things in my heart and just reminisce a lot.
That's good. That's really good. So, Cleo, I get to the point of the show where I get in a little bit more deeper, and I ask the person, what are you personally, what are you wrestling with right now? What's some of the things that is in your life that you're struggling with, that you're dealing with, that you're trying to overcome? And
well, all my life, I guess deep down, even, I've always wrestled with insecurity of not being good enough. I have cousins. We're both 38. Well, he turned 39 last week, actually.
You're 38?
Yeah, 38.
Wow, you look super good for your age,
well, thanks.
Man. You do.
But he's 39 now, and we like 27 days apart.
Okay.
And he's married with 3 kids, beautiful home, beautiful wife, living in Auburn, Alabama. He works for the Capitol, and his wife works for Auburn University.
Oh, War Eagle.
Roll Tide. But I wrestle, I compare myself to him because I know he's married, living a good life, enjoying his wife and his family, and I'm still single. And, there's times with Christmas and these special moments that I don't have anybody to share it with that's significant and intimate to me in my heart. So sometimes I struggle with that, and, and it makes me just wonder about myself and how, who I really am, and, I'm not good enough and I know that God loves me. No doubt about that. No question about that. But it's just, I look at myself sometimes as a failure because, in the South, everybody's expected at a certain age, you need to be married with kids.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, right? It's a social stigma. Like that's what you just said. It's in the South, but it's not like there's not some unwritten human law that you have to be married by a certain age, or you have to have kids by a certain age, or that you have to be married or have kids at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, because for a long time that kind of was a thing for me too, right? So I started approaching like my mid-20s and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I haven't even like, I haven't finished a college degree yet, and I don't have like a person I'm ready to settle down with and all this stuff, and I started freaking out about it. And then as some years went by, I started realizing that it's just a bunch of, I don't know, it's silly. It's not like you like whenever you're ready to do whatever it is in life, it's you, because we're all individuals, right? It doesn't matter what other people are doing, because then you could use the cliche thing. It's like, oh, if everybody's jumping off a bridge, are you gonna jump off a bridge too?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I mean, I get it. I get that being an insecurity for people. But what I would say to that is just that whenever you're ready, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if your cousin's doing it or all your friends are doing it or everybody you know is married and has kids or is working their career job or finished their school.
Mm-hmm.
There's people, I've known people that haven't settled down in life and up and in their 40s, even 50s.
Really?
Yeah,
50s?
really. Yeah, and they've lived life by their own tune. They dance to their own music. It doesn't matter what the rest of people in society believe. And then if you being a Christian and stuff like that, I feel like, if God made you as an individual, right? So he wants you to do stuff individually from the rest of the people, right? Because we're not herds of animal, we're humans. Right. And so, but I mean, that makes sense. What else? Do you have any other insecurities besides that?
Sometimes I wonder how people perceive me as a person. Like you're meeting new people, you wonder what they're thinking about you and, what their thoughts about you are. And so I tend to be very analytical and analyze a lot of things. Okay. Like even as a nurse, if I meet a patient for the first time, we have a conversation, it always ends up to, so are you married or have any kids?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the older people mostly ask you that because it's kind of like it's expectant.
Yeah.
And I have to sadly tell them like, no, ma'am, I'm still looking. And they'll like tell me in a condescending voice, like, bless your heart, you'll find somebody. But it's kind of like, I feel like it's pity, like, bless his heart, he's still single and he don't have anybody at his age yet. It's kind of, I mean, it is like a stigma because some people kind of perceive like, well, if a man is single and he's not married and have any kids, then he must be a homosexual. People think that a lot.
That's when you look at them, even if it's a 10-year-old girl, and you say, here's what you say. Hey, that's none of your damn business. That's what you do. Even if you little girl, it's none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, people are like, who cares? Like, if people have said stuff like that to me, man, and man, I'm much more. I'm not as sweet as you, though. Matt's cracking up over there. He knows I'm not that sweet when it comes to stuff. I will, yeah, but yeah, man, I wouldn't worry about that stuff. Yeah, whenever you're ready to do whatever you want to do, then you're gonna do it. And if you don't, you don't. I mean, it's not. You'll be good. I'm sure God's not mad at you that you're not settled down and stuff yet.
Yeah, and then you got to find the right dance partner, my brother. You do. And then I always used to wonder, well, if I do get married, will she get tired of me and want to divorce me because
I sure hope not.
Well, because I'm not what she really wanted.
You're really thinking this is super deep.
I do. I analyze a lot, and that's really one of my defaults that I hate about myself is that I become very critical of myself, very analytical.
Have you ever heard of something called analysis paralysis?
No.
So it's a concept that even the smartest minds, and usually people that do analyze things are very analytical and they're observant. Sometimes their gift is their curse. They're super smart. They're super introspective. They're in their heads. They're good at thought and processing.
Right.
But they also hinder themselves in life because they worry about that stuff so much and they analyze so much that it paralyzes them from taking. It's like you've got a stairway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Staircase, and you're looking at all of them, and you're like, some of the steps look kind of suspect, and you take so much time studying these steps that you never. Let's say there's like gold at the top of it, right? And you take so much time analyzing all these steps, you never taken that first step, and meanwhile somebody else is not even thinking about it, and they're just boom. They're risking it all. They're not even worried about studying. They're up to the top. They got the gold. You don't. You're still down there analyzing the steps.
I think that's me.
That is analysis paralysis.
Well, I think I have an episode of it, or because I think I could have been married a long time ago, but I kind of like shot myself in the foot. I had opportunities.
You mean this figuratively, right?
Yeah, figuratively. Okay. I've had opportunities to ask girls out, and I froze up and missed opportunities. And maybe if I have taken it and just jumped out there and put myself out there, I probably could be married today.
Have you tried Tinder?
No. I'm very leery of those.
Christiansingles.com. Is that a thing?
Yeah, that is a thing. But okay. I heard horror stories about those apps too.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Horror stories about Christian mingles?
Even not Christian mingle.
But I thought they're Christians.
Well, there was a guy pretending to be a woman. on Christian Mingle. I've
You
heard.
gotta get this guy on the show, Matt.
He was, and when the guy finally met him and thought that he was
That'd be a good episode of Catfish on MTV.
Yeah. He was devastated when he realized that it wasn't a woman, it was a guy. And the guy still wanted to pursue a friendship with him. And he was like, no.
That's wild. Okay, all right. So don't do those apps then.
Yeah. Not saying they all are that way, but
sure. I got you. I mean, here's the thing. I've actually heard, not a lot, but I've heard of a few ones that actually worked out and people found their proverbial soulmates or the people they ended up dating and falling in love with or getting married and having kids and blah 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 blah. So it can be a good platform. It's kind of like, I look at it in the same way social media is, right? Like social media to me, like Facebook and Instagram and all that, is a useful tool, especially if you have a business or something, you're marketing yourself or your brand. Right. And then it's also good to keep up with your friends, your contacts, and just check in with people. And it creates this extension, these branches for you to keep up with people that you can't get to talk to all the time in your life. But if you put too much stock on it, like a big bulk of people, then you're wasting your time, and it's silly, it's artificial. And I feel like those dating apps are kind of more the same, except probably more so than social media. If you put like so much stock in them, like then maybe you're not going to find what you're looking for. But, every once in a while, lightning could strike.
Yeah.
You never know. This just gives us somebody another platform to be able to. I've always loved the old fashioned way, man.
Yeah.
I've always loved just like seeing a person in the flesh and, getting a drink thrown in my face. That's my thing. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I love, human interaction. This was very important, right? People are so disconnected now.
Yeah,
I would prefer technology
that.
And social media. Everybody's so disconnected. And like everybody's freaking out about COVID, right? But I'm like, really? Why? You already spent so much time on Facebook anyways talking to people, and you spent so much time on your phone when you're out with friends when you should be hanging out with them and talking to them. So why are you so upset about social distancing and quarantine, all that? Like you were doing that already. You're doing that already. So I feel like, if it is a government conspiracy, then it's perfect because we're already separated and quarantined and everything's automative anyway. They're just getting us ready to march us in to concentration camps. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, okay, what else do you wrestle with, man?
Well, like I said, not being married, I worry about how people perceive me. And
what do you mean how people? Well, do you mean only perceive you because you're a certain age and you're not married, or perceive you like they don't like you?
Well, both. Both. Everything. Like I wonder how people perceive me. It's like how they judge me when they first meet me.
I can't imagine why they. I mean, you're a real likable guy.
Well,
I think,
I've
right?
struggled with it a lot. Even with God's loving me, I know the Bible says He loves me, and I know Christ died for me. But sometimes I feel like, does God really love me? Does God really approve of me? Does God really cares about me? Does God pleased with me as a person? Am I doing things that He's happy about? Like, is He disappointed in me?
Yeah.
So I haven't, been a pastor or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned about those things too. And I really wrestle with all those things. And sometimes, like you say, it can be very crippling because instead of taking one step forward, I'm taking like three backwards because I'm being afraid to step out.
Yeah. If I was you, obviously I'm not a professional at this, but my advice to you is to really kind of meditate on those things, and then also to try to there's something really. I used to make fun of people that were airheaded, to kind of just do things, they don't even think about it. But when I look at it now in my adulthood, there's something very free and salvaging about that, because these people, they don't think about it as much, but they enjoy life so much better than people like you or even me, who overthink things, overanalyze things, and worry about what other people are thinking and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would just kind of meditate on it, and it's easier said than done, but just because in this part of my life, I've learned to kind of let go of up here,
right,
and just do things, just do it, and let the chips fall where they may, right? Because I feel like eventually everything kind of works out in harmony.
Yeah.
Even if it's chaos, everything, the balance of order in life and nature and the world all gravitates towards harmony, no matter how chaotic it is, right? Everything works in harmony. And I'm saying this from a scientific standpoint and from an emotional, metaphysical standpoint. Right. Everything works in harmony. And I feel like your life kind of works the same way. Things work out in harmony in the end. So I feel like, a challenge for you could just be to, just try to like think less and do more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean like close your eyes and walk out in the middle of 459. Mm-hmm. I don't mean that, but I mean, like,
oh yeah.
As far as like your perception of people, just turn your mind off. I'll tell you, meditation is a really good thing about that. You just sit, you listen to either music or you don't listen to music, or you just in the morning and you just breathe in, breathe out, and you just do this for like 5 minutes every day.
Yeah.
And clear your mind. And if you do have a thought, and you will, it's fine. The thought can be there and you just let it go, and then try to keep your mind clear and focus on that. And as you keep doing it, you get more and more, like you get better at it. And then as time goes on, you can kind of like empty your head, and then, then you might not worry as much about all those kinds of things.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, other times, I think, too, I feel like I don't fit in, even with my family. Like me and my sister, and I can just say this to you, we're at odds with each other.
Oh, no.
And there is some family I haven't talked to since my dad's funeral. And so to protect myself from getting hurt, I'll immediately put up boundaries and barriers where I just stay in my little safe zone. And if I don't get too close to people, because if I don't get close to them, I won't get hurt. So that could be another reason why I'm not married. But I do that quite often. Like, even though I can be likable and lovable and friendly, I don't let people get too close, because I feel like they have to earn my trust, or if I just put my heart out there, they'll hurt me somehow, and it'll be like all for nothing. So I do set up boundaries and barriers.
But I mean, what's that old saying that goes, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? I feel like that's a real thing. Right? Do you agree with that? What do you think? You don't like that quote?
I understand the quote, but I think for me is...
And if that's the case, then I've been living by that quote since I was born, because I've lost so much love because I'm such a butthole.
I definitely understand that quote. It's just that I put up boundaries, and
I think your issues can best be conquered by just exercising a different way of looking at it, and a different way of thinking about it. Like with anything, repetition is the master of success. So you just do the things that can kind of help you steer away from, like, I don't know, being so insecure about those things,
right,
and just kind of work on it little by little. I was reading this book called Atomic Habits, and it talked about how, just changing one tiny little thing day to day or week to week, and then change another tiny thing, and it builds up through time. And then before you know it, you're a completely different person, and you look at something different, or you've accomplished something because you started out doing just one little bitty thing. It's like if you saved $1 every day, right? It's just $1, but it's not, or maybe not every day, but every paycheck, once a week or something. It's like, oh, it's just $1. But if you've saved it up for 365 days, then it's $365. And if you do that for 2 years, then you've saved up over $700. And let's say you do this from when you're like 5 years old to when you're like 35. How much money do you have? A lot, right? But it just started out being like one little dollar, and it built up, right? And so I feel like, it's people work, they go to gyms to work out, exercise, to build their muscles up. Right. But I feel like you can do that with your mind and your emotions.
Right.
Find workouts, little workouts, and, do some reps every day. So yeah, if I was you, I would try to meditate on it. Or you're Christian, so you pray. Yeah. Pray about it, think on it, meditate on it. And just try to change up something that you do in life to try to do that. I mean, let's say I'm not an expert to give you this advice. This is just a friend talking to a friend.
This is good advice, and I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it too. But yeah, I feel like you got a good head on your shoulders, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what other people think. Screw those people. Well, I don't care about those people. You shouldn't either.
Well, I think the thing for me is that I received such opposition from my family. Mainly my sister. She has a kid. She's divorced now, but she got married and had a kid. And I think she feels like she, quote unquote, has one up on me because she has.
But she got divorced. I know. Not to, but she throw eggs here, but.
Oh yeah, but she feels like that she has one up on me because she has a kid and I don't. And we've always been competitive. Even though I have never tried to compete with her, she's always tried to compete with me.
That's super weird.
You know my sister, don't you, Cornelia?
Oh,
Remember her?
Yeah. If I'd forgotten, but
if I see her,
I'd be like, yeah, I remember. The name sounds super duper familiar.
And it was a big thing at Garywood. We've had several counseling sessions with Pastor Loper, even with Pastor Patrick about it. Like just me and her having counseling. Because we were definitely at odds, and people that knew our family they were aware of it at the church. So, we're not. And it's well, it kind of saddens my heart, but we're not close today, and well,
if you're not close, then I guess it really shouldn't matter, then. Right?
Yeah, honestly, I'm really okay with it. I know it's probably mean for me to say, but
yeah, have you ever tried to beat her up?
No,
maybe that's what she needs. Her brother to just beat her up.
No, we had a lot of verbal arguments.
Oh, okay.
And verbal, but it's not. I feel like I probably even should be sharing this on the podcast, but I feel like
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. This is totally up to you, man.
Well, I'll say it, but I feel like she's a Judas. You can't trust her. There have been several people at the church and at my family that have told me things that she have said that were not true about me behind my back. That I just tend to just like put barriers up and just hold grudges. So I have a barrier up against her. Like I don't let her come close to me at all.
Yeah.
Emotionally in my heart, there's a barrier there.
Sure.
So let's just say if I was to die and I had $1 million, I would will it to you and Matt before I would to her.
Me and Matt really appreciate that. We're trying to get this thing off the ground.
I wouldn't give her a penny.
That new studio, Matt. Well, we hope you don't die.
Yeah,
obviously.
I don't have $1 million, but I'm just saying if I did.
I love the analogy. I really appreciate that. That's really good. Well, I think that with a little time and practice and stuff, you can really overcome the things that you're wrestling with, because it's not they're not. I mean, everybody struggles with different things, and it's easy for me to sit here and say it because I'm not you, and I perceive things differently than you, and I handle things differently than you do. But, the thing that's wonderful about the things we wrestle with in life is sometimes like you never really can beat them. Some of the things that you wrestle with, but in overcoming them consistently, because it's always a fight. It's always a uphill race, but it's good because it gives you something to keep chasing, to keep fighting for.
That's
right,
true.
and I feel like that's what's really important in life. And I mean, I think you got a good head on your shoulders. It just I'd practice like I said, trying to like meditate on things, and I think that maybe you can find some good in that.
Yeah,
because you're a good guy. You're a cool guy.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But see, I'll be like, even you're telling me that I would think, well, Mitch is just being nice to me. I'm not a good guy. But that's what my mind will work.
I mean, I do know that, but no, I'm kidding. No. I here's the thing. I'll tell you right now. I don't. I try my best not to BS people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of one of those like, where's my heart on my sleeve? If I feel like something, I kind of say it to people, and sometimes this has made people not like me because I'm just more honest than other people. Because unfortunately, the majority of people want you to tell them everything that you want to hear, and people cater to that all the time. And I don't live life that way. My mom has never taught me how to be that way.
Right.
She's always been very brutally honest with my brothers and sisters. Now, I'm not brutally honest with somebody, but I try to be very honest with people about stuff. And I try I don't goof off. I don't waste my time with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I didn't like you, I wouldn't talk to you. I wouldn't. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in this scenario, if hypothetically speaking, if I didn't like you, didn't find you interesting, I wouldn't have invited you to be on my podcast, bro. Like, if I'm just being completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, unless, you were begging me and you paid me some money to be on here, then I'm like, all right, I can't stand this person, but yeah, we'll do it for $1 million. God, I feel like I'd have to really not like somebody to get $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, so... I mean, I think what if somebody is watching or listening to this and they're dealing with insecurities similar to yours, what would you say to them? What if like a 20 something year old person's watching this right now? They're just out of high school. They're trying to figure out their lives, and they're worried about their insecurities and what they need to be doing. They should have started college, but they didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and they should have a boyfriend or girlfriend or some relationship, and they don't, and they're kind of struggling. What would you say to them? What advice would you give to them?
Well, and I guess I always come back to my faith in God because that's my foundation.
Okay.
But I would just say, first of all, I think my insecurities and my maybe lack of self-esteem I think it comes from the fact that sometimes I doubt God, that I know God is great and sovereign and wonderful, and he has great things, but does he really have great things in store for me?
Okay.
And so I would say to that person, don't doubt God. And believe that if he sent his son to die for you, God has great things for you personally. He loves you. He cares about you. And that it doesn't matter what mistake you've made. If you have a dream or a goal or a vision, step out and believe that he can help make it possible for you. That he's not just some God in the cosmos unaware what's happening to you, but he's right now in your situation caring about you. He knows you. He sees you right where you are. So trust him. Don't doubt him, but trust him and just step out and know that he has you in the palm of his hand and that God can make everything work out for your good because he does that. Our God is the God, as they say, he's in the recycling business. He can take what's broken, battered, and bruised, and through his grace and mercy, turn it around to be a perfect picture of his grace and mercy, where he gets the glory. And people be like, well, I know they had to be God because this guy or this lady could not have done that on her own. Okay. You know, he's the, as Pastor Lopez used to always say, he's the Christ of every crisis. And he can do for you.
Play on words.
What you can't do for yourself. And that's just not for them. That's also for me. I'm saying this to myself. I have to not doubt God, but actually trust God with my life. Trust, and I think that's where my insecurities come from, really. It's my doubt of God for me. I know he saved me, but can he also help me find the woman of my dreams? Can he also give me the 4 kids I want to have? Can he cause me to grow old and have a plethora full of grandkids where I give them sugar and send them back to their parents? Yes, he can do that. But he wants me to trust him, you know? And so that's what I would say. You've got to trust God and give him control of your life.
Very, very well spoken. Very well said. And I don't know if I could disagree with it per se, but just to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
What if that person you're talking to doesn't believe in God? Or what if they're not a Christian? What if they're a Muslim? What if they're Jewish?
What if they're Jewish?
What if they subscribe to Buddhism?
Well, I would still witness to them because there is power in the gospel to say.
Do you think somebody could use some principles from that from a secular standpoint?
Yeah. Because I think you have to have faith in yourself and confidence in yourself and realize there's a new day every single day. You wake up, there's a chance to make things right. You know, yesterday's gone and tomorrow is tomorrow, but you have today. So what do you want to do today? I have a sign in my room that says you gotta wanna. If it is to be, it's up to me. If you want to make it happen, you make it happen. So that's why I would tell that person.
On that note, I'll give you an amen. That was good. That was good. That was super good. That was super duper good. Also, I'd like to say what you just said to this imaginary theoretical person.
Okay.
You could apply that to yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What you just said could apply to you in your own insecurities. 100%. You take every day, one day at a time, because it's the present, and it's called the present because it's a gift. You know, tomorrow's gone, or yesterday's gone, and tomorrow may never come. So it's about right now. So you worrying about like not being in a certain position in your life doesn't matter, because what you should be worried about is right now. And right now is the most important of all time. So,
and I know that God has great plans for me. God has great plans for you. God has great plans for Matt. God has great plans for everybody. But we just have to agree with God. And for those that don't believe in God, just believe that you're somebody special, and you can decide what you want to do with your life by taking initiative and being confident in yourself as a person, and realize I have a chance today to change my mistakes. It's not going to be easy. It may not happen overnight, but you have to put the work into it. And sometimes I think we are lazy because we don't want to put the work into it. You know, if I have to clean my room, which I hate doing, or if I have to cut grass, it's going to be work. If I want the finished result to be a clean yard or a spick and span spotless room, I'm going to have to roll up my sleeves and go to work. And a lot of times, even as Christians and even non-Christians, we want the results, but not the process. We have to go through the process. Me, myself included. That's mainly for me. I want a beautiful woman. I can't just expect God to drop her into my lap. I have to put myself out there and ask a girl out and invite her to Heroes for a donut or Starbucks for coffee. and just strike up a conversation and see what our interests are and just go from there, you know? So.
Excellent. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up. That was awesome. See? You can't be in the ministry. Listen to that. Listen to all that preaching you just did. Woo. Took me to church on this Saturday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Cleo, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies, the most eligible bachelor in Birmingham. Check him out. Cleo Chambless. Look him up on Facebook. You have an Instagram?
I'm old school too. I don't have an Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I barely have Facebook.
Okay. Well, you can check him out on Facebook. Send him a message. Send him a kissy face.
Maybe I should get Instagram though.
Maybe you should.
What is it? Snapchat? They have all those new social media things.
This was a really great episode. Thank you for being here. Did you have fun?
I had a great time. You were right.
I was right.
He was nervous.
He was nervous, but he opened up and he just laid down just the foundations on us today, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another episode of the Wrestling Diaries, where we find out just how much struggle is manhood.
Yes,
because it really is. And we had some really awesome talks about some really cool things today. I hope anybody watching or listening has enjoyed this so far. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and a plethora of other places that host podcasts. Follow us, like us, share us. If you want to be on the show, send us a message on our Facebook page, The Wrestling Diaries. Let me know. I've got a list. So if you want to be on, first come, first serve, ladies and gentlemen. Also, follow us on YouTube, where you can watch the videos and actually see everyone's beautiful faces and everything they're doing. Tell me, what do you wrestle with, and how can you beat it? One love.